Okay, so a while ago I made the rather cryptic IKEA-looking schematic that you see on your screen before you. And if you manage to decipher it, it's a schematic for making like a decent quantity of power, a relatively early game in the Mekanism mod, as well as immersive engineering. So pretty much any tech mod pack, this will be able to be built. But of course I had a lot of problems of people not really being able to understand that IKEA schematic. So that's why I'm making this video. So right before you, you see your lovely little shopping list that you need. So the first thing is 8 basic universal cables, 7 mechanical pipes, which are the fluid pipes, a gas burning generator, there's a hyphen between the words gas and burning when you're searching for it, pressurized reaction chamber, it has an S not a Z apparently, an electrolytic separator, a crusher, a pump, and a garden cloche from the immersive engineering mod, or anything else that grows plants fast will work. So your end result looks something like this lovely little compact patch of spaghetti, and you just need to feed it a little bit of power to jumpstart it, and put some crops and stuff in the garden cloche. But how exactly do you construct this thing, you ask? It's a little bit complicated. But let me just replicate this little setup that you see before you, and I'll show you how you can build this and get yourself a cool 7.8 RF or FE or joules or whatever else you're using per tick. So the first thing we want to place down is our garden cloche, and we need our mechanical pipes arranged roughly like this, and a universal cable there. We want to put a bit of water just right about here. So pause your screen to take advantage of that if you want. Okay, and now we put the pump there. So this electric cable will feed both the garden cloche and the pump. The liquid comes out the top here, and we need that to go places, so we connect up some pipes like this. And now this will get water, and anything along here will get water. But what goes along here? We put a crusher here, so make sure that this hatch here is on this side and facing into the crusher, otherwise it won't work, otherwise it won't output the items correctly. Okay, then we put our PRC in the middle, and our electrolytic separator there. So now the PRC and the electrolytic separator will get water. The crusher won't get power at the moment. We build that section next. So we build up a bit, put our gas burning generator. You need to make sure that it's facing, see how it's got a green port on one side and yellow on all the other sides. The yellow is for gas inputs and then the green is for power inputs. You need to make sure that the green connects up to the cables, otherwise it won't do anything. Then we just build our cables up, and one on top of the crusher, and then like this, and now you've got yourself your little electric power setup. The next part is to actually set up the sides configured correctly, because this thing is quite annoying in Mekanism, so you'll want to shift click, set everything to none just on all of them so that you can figure out what you're doing a little better. So I'll cut ahead to once I've finished doing that. Okay, so we've set every single tab on every one of these, so you've got your energy and your items tab, and in this one we've got energy, liquid, fluids, and gases. So keep the energy on input on all sides because that doesn't really matter. Now, for the crusher, we're going to have our items coming in the back and going out the right side there. So our items, this is the back, we go input, and on the side we go output, and we turn eject on. That means it'll automatically push the items out to the side. Now, our PRC is receiving items in through the front, and we're going to have an output in through the side and an output on the front, and eject automatically again. Our liquids, our water, is going to come in through the bottom, and our gas comes in through the right. So that's all good. Now we'll get all our gases and everything set up in here. Now this needs to output our hydrogen, then the output 2 goes out there. We've got liquid coming in through the bottom, and we need to set it to dump excess oxygen because we don't need the oxygen for this setup. The final thing with the PRC is that, whoops, that was right, and now we need the top to be an output. So that means that the ethylene that this PRC makes will go up into the gas burning generator. So now in theory that should make everything correct. So now all we have to do is get some seeds. I personally use pumpkin seeds, but you can use pretty much anything you like. So we put that in the top slot, a little bit of dirt in the bottom slot, and most easy is to just have like a wind turbine. You can even start it up with a heat generator if you really want. Like, this thing already assumes that you've got some form of power generation because you need power to make the materials. But if we just put a block of coal in there, we should see everything kick into gear. Okay, and now stuff is happening. So this is, hold on, let me see what the recipe for it is. We want to be producing substrate as a byproduct, hydrogen, water, and biofuel. Right. So let's see. This is that's right. don't forget this little cable here. Just a lovely little piece of advice for you. Let's put some more coal in there. Why not? Why not? Because evidently, one coal block is not enough to jumpstart this system. So let's try it again. Let's see if we're working. We've outputted a little bit. Outputted a little bit. Not really quite enough. Instead, we'll use a wind generator. Actually, I'm in creative mode. Energy cell. Cube. Whatever, it's fine. Sorry, I am trying to record this in one take, so it's not going too well. Okay, and that should be enough. And now this is filling up with hydrogen. This will start to grow things, as you can see, because it's getting fed water from the pump. And now it'll start growing pumpkins any moment now. Then what will happen is that those pumpkins will go into this crusher. They'll get crushed into biofuel. The biofuel gets outputted into the PRC and goes into this slot along with our plentiful hydrogen and water. Once that's done, it'll turn it into substrate. Substrate we'll dispose of. I'll show you how to do that in a moment. And then the ethylene that's produced in this slot gets exported right out through the top there. So here we go. Any moment now this will work. There you go. Now the crush is into action, draining its power because of course it is. I recommend that by this point you should have a wind generator. That's a good way to bridge the gap between building one of these things. There you go. Now this is working. So you'll want to kickstart this with one of these things, which are comparatively cheap and good for early game, but don't kick out much. And now, as you can see, it can produce a bit of power, which is exactly what we want. Look at that. Nice and rapid. Okay. The issue, however, is that you get this substrate as a byproduct. You have to remove that, because if that fills up, the PRC will simply stop working, and you won't get power from this system anymore. So what I tend to do is I tend to have a bit of lava down there, and a chute from the Quark mod. I will show you how those work in a moment. So a chute is sort of like a hopper, it just automatically drops any items, like that, right there, straight into the lava. However, another thing you can do if you don't have those available to you, is you can use a storage drawer, well, one of these things, and you can give it void upgrade. And the void upgrade basically means that it will void excess items, it will act like lava, it'll store up as much of the substrate as it can, and then any extra will get deleted. Anyway, I hope this helps you out, and thank you very much for watching. This is a pretty decent way to get yourself a good quantity of power pretty early in the game, and the other thing that's worth noting is that this setup can actually sustain more than one gas burning generator. You could set up probably about 3 on this system and run them constantly and you'd be fine. But one at least will give you enough to get things going to start with. And of course you can just hook up your machinery anywhere with this universal cable here, or if you've got immersive engineering installed, you can just slap connectors on there and they work just fine with your universal cable.